Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we are going on a really fascinating journey. We're going to start out in the loud, flashy, heavily debated world of pop culture gossip, and by the end of this, we are going to be traveling deep inside the electrical firing of your very own neurons. I know, it's a wildly unexpected connection, but I promise you, the way you hear music is absolutely about to change forever. So let's start with a song you've inevitably heard, Miley Cyrus's massive smash hit, Flowers. Now, when this track dropped, the internet literally exploded. Was it a carefully crafted revenge track? Was it, as some lawsuits and viral rumors aggressively claimed, a direct ripoff of Bruno Mars's When I Was Your Man? Or is it actually something else entirely, like a masterclass in audio engineering, designed specifically to hack how our brains process sound? We're kind of using this whole controversy as our Trojan horse today because the true depth of what makes this song work is just so much more profound than celebrity drama. Here is how we're breaking it down today. 1. The drama behind the hit. 2. Deconstructing the music. 3. The AI music connection. And 4. The musician's brain edge. We are funneling all the way down from macro culture straight to microbiology. All right, kicking things off with section 1. The drama behind the hit. Because, you really can't talk about Flowers dominating the Billboard Hot 100 without talking about the viral context that launched it there in the first place. Right out of the gate, we've got to address the elephant in the room. That massive internet rumor and the subsequent lawsuit claiming Miley straight up copied Bruno Mars. Impartially looking at the raw musical data, though, the music tells a totally different story from the gossip. Flowers runs at a brisk 108 beats per minute with a super straightforward C major progression and these really simple quarter note verse melodies. Bruno's track, on the other hand, is a much slower 73 BPM. It's got a highly varying chord progression and vastly more complex rhythmic melodies. So yes, they share a very similar emotional vibe, and sure, the lyrics are thematic opposites, but from a pure sheet music perspective, they just don't match up. But hey, the music is only half the equation, right? What really drove the song's initial virality were the Easter eggs that were deliberately left for the fans. I mean, it was released on her ex-husband, Liam Hemsworth's 33rd birthday. The opening lyrics explicitly reference their shared Malibu home burning down in the 2018 wildfires. Fans even pieced together subtle nods to this highly awkward 2019 viral Vanity Fair interview they did together. This cultural context, this lore, if you will, acts as the very first layer of how we experience the song. Literally, before the beat even drops, your brain is already primed with a narrative. Moving right along to section 2, deconstructing the music. Once that gossip gets you to click play, the production actually has to keep you listening. So let's put on our studio engineer hats for a second and look at how this track was physically built to be so undeniably catchy. If we walk through the mixing desk, we see this brilliant mini-narrative of tension and release. It starts out so simple in step 1, just some whirly chords and a muted bass line. Then, boom, step 2, the chorus hits, and we get these incredibly tight, gated sidechain drums. The producer actually chopped the tails off the drum sounds so they only play when triggered. It makes the rhythm feel incredibly punchy and urgent. Then, step 3 introduces these lush 70s-style session strings processed with heavy saturation to give them a distinct vintage feel. And finally, step 4 is what producers call ear candy. These tiny, almost subconscious details. We're talking pan shakers, claps that flame just slightly offbeat to sound human, and this awesome reverse vibrato leading into the massive hook. And this brings us to a really crucial realization about the industry. Pop music is changing. Flowers achieved its massive success by perfectly blending incredibly modern, chopped-up production tricks with classic, 70s-era songwriting and instrumentation. It sounds wonderfully nostalgic, yet entirely fresh at the exact same time. It is a completely calculated audio environment. Which brings us nicely to our third section, the AI music connection. We've established the cultural lore, we've built the physical track, but how do our brains actually process all of these layered studio sounds and cultural contexts in real time? To answer this, we have to look at a recent, absolutely mind-blowing study published in Nature Communications. They looked at a concept called contextual encoding. Basically, this is your brain's ability to take individual, discrete elements, like a single kick drum or a single piano note, and group them into a larger hierarchical sequence. Why? so you can actively predict what happens next. And to map this out, researchers actually used an AI transformer model, a generative neural network trained on music to decode how human brains listen to complex songs. When they compared the AI's artificial neural network to human EEG and intracranial recordings, they found a direct mirror. It's wild. Layer 1 of the AI, which processes basic pitch and acoustic features, perfectly matched the electrical activity in the human primary auditory cortex. But as the AI moves deeper to layer 13, where it processes highly abstract context and piece identity, it matched human brain activity moving into deeper regions like the temporal pole, where we process identity and deeper meaning. The deeper the musical context, the deeper the electrical signals literally travel into the hierarchy of your brain. All right, let's head into our final section, the musician's brain edge. Now, let me ask you, did you play an instrument growing up? Did you spend years doing piano scales, or maybe you played in the school band? If so, you are absolutely going to love this next part. The data from this EEG study reveals a massive, quantifiable gap between trained musicians and non-musicians. For folks without musical training, the brain's predictive accuracy basically plateaued after hearing about 100 notes of context. But for trained musicians, their brains just kept going. They continued to scale up, actively integrating and utilizing context for up to 300 notes. A musician's brain literally holds a massive, extended structural map of the song as it plays. It's a huge advantage. So what this actually means is that years of musical training physically alter how your brain processes sound. The researchers found that this heavy lifting of musical context is strongly lateralized, meaning it is heavily shifted over into the left hemisphere of the brain. Specifically, it's pushing into the left frontal cortical areas for musicians. They aren't just hearing a song better, they are processing the very architecture of the song entirely differently than someone without that training. To summarize the core takeaway from this incredible nature research, musical training refines the hierarchical neural processing of music. The way you hear a hit song like Flowers isn't just about the flawless mix on Spotify. It is entirely dependent on the structural wiring of your brain. The deeper your experience with music, the deeper your neurons fire to decode its secrets. So, I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Next time you turn on the radio and a massive pop hit comes on, just stop for a second and ask yourself, is your brain actively predicting the next note in a complex neurological dance? Or are you just remembering the celebrity gossip? Or, beautifully, is it a little bit of both? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I will see you next time.